Your Windows 10 PC still turns on this morning. Your files are exactly where you left them. Your application's open. Your desktop looks identical to how it looked a year ago. Nothing has visibly changed, but Microsoft already stopped supporting it. And if your machine cannot run Windows 11, or you simply don't want to replace perfectly functional hardware, then 2026 is the year a question you may have been postponing finally demands an answer. What exactly are you supposed to do next? Here's the distinction most people miss when they hear the phrase end of support. Windows 10 did not stop working on October 14th, 2025. The operating system did not lock up. Microsoft did not remotely disable anyone's computer. Your PC kept booting, your browser kept loading, your documents kept opening. What ended was the maintenance relationship. Standard security updates stopped. Technical support through Microsoft's normal channels ended. The operating system that was receiving regular security patches every month quietly stopped receiving them. That sounds technical and abstract until you understand what security updates actually do. They close vulnerabilities. They fix flaws that attackers discover and exploit. Without them, the gap between what the operating system can defend against and what attackers know how to exploit grows wider every month. Your PC still works. It is simply no longer being maintained against new threats. That is a fundamentally different kind of problem. And it is why 2026 is the year the decision can no longer be quietly deferred. The obvious question is why not simply upgrade to Windows 11? For many users, that is exactly the right answer. Windows 11 is Microsoft's supported path forward, and for compatible hardware, it is the most straightforward migration available. But Windows 11 has hardware requirements that not every existing Windows 10 machine meets. The requirements include a compatible processor from a supported generation, TPM 2.0 support, secure boot capability, and sufficient RAM and storage. These are not arbitrary obstacles. They reflect Microsoft's decision to build Windows 11 around a specific hardware security baseline. The consequence is that some machines running Windows 10 today cannot officially upgrade to Windows 11. A computer that was purchased 5 or 6 years ago and has served its owner reliably may simply not qualify under Microsoft's official compatibility criteria. Workarounds exist. Some users install Windows 11 on technically ineligible hardware through unofficial methods. But unsupported installations can face complications with updates, compatibility, and security management that create their own problems. That path deserves caution rather than enthusiasm. So for a meaningful population of Windows 10 users, the simple answer, just upgrade, is not actually available without also buying new hardware. Microsoft did not leave those users without any option. Extended security updates exist precisely for situations where additional time is needed. For consumers, Microsoft currently says eligible enrolled devices can continue receiving security updates through October 12, 2027. That is a genuine extension of the security maintenance window, and for users who need more time to make their migration decision, it is worth understanding. But ESU is a bridge, not a destination. It buys additional security update coverage. It does not restore Windows 10 to a fully modern, actively developed platform. It does not change the hardware compatibility situation with Windows 11. It does not give Windows 10 a new feature roadmap or long-term future. If your plan is to enroll in ESU, stay on Windows 10, and eventually figure out the next step later, ESU is a reasonable way to buy time. The honest question is, time to do what? Because the underlying problem has not changed. At some point, the hardware that cannot run Windows 11 still needs to go somewhere. This is where the conversation takes an unexpected turn, not toward a new PC, not toward another Microsoft product, toward an operating system that has spent decades waiting for exactly this kind of moment. Linux. Not because Microsoft recommends it, they do not. Linux is not part of Microsoft's official migration guidance. The options Microsoft presents are Windows 11, extended security updates, and replacing the device. Linux enters this story because of what it can do with hardware that Windows no longer wants to support. A computer that cannot run Windows 11 and is aging out of ESU does not become physically obsolete on any of those dates. The processor still executes instructions. The storage still holds data. The display still shows output. The machine is functionally capable. Its operating system simply no longer has a supported future on Windows. Linux can change that equation. Not magically, not without trade-offs, but meaningfully. Linux in 2026 is not the Linux of a decade ago, and that distinction matters enormously for the Windows 10 migration conversation. Modern Linux distributions have addressed many of the barriers that once made them impractical for ordinary users. Installation processes have become more accessible. Hardware detection has improved for common consumer devices. Desktop environments and distributions like Linux Mint, Xubuntu, and Ubuntu offer experiences that do not require users to be comfortable with terminal commands for routine tasks. Software centers make installing applications recognizable. Updates can be managed graphically. Some distributions are specifically designed to operate efficiently on older hardware with modest resources. A machine that feels sluggish running a modern Windows environment can sometimes feel considerably more responsive running a lightweight Linux distribution, because the system overhead is genuinely lower. That is a meaningful practical benefit, not a guaranteed transformation. Performance depends on hardware specifics, the distribution chosen, the desktop environment, the applications running, and the drivers available. But the potential to extend the useful life of older hardware is real, and it is one of the most compelling reasons Linux is increasingly relevant to Windows 10 users in 2026. But here is where the honest version of this story has to slow down. Installing Linux is not a solution. It is the beginning of a transition, and the transition has real costs that deserve direct acknowledgement before anyone reformats a drive. The first question is not which Linux distribution looks most appealing. The first question is whether Linux can run the software you actually depend on. Some Windows applications have native Linux versions. Many productivity tools, creative applications, and communication platforms have either Linux builds or web versions that work well across operating systems. For users whose computing lives are primarily organized around a browser, email, documents, and media, Linux can be genuinely capable. But other applications do not have Linux equivalents. Certain professional software, industry-specific tools, hardware management utilities, and proprietary applications may have no practical Linux alternative. Some may work through compatibility layers with varying reliability, others may not work at all. This is the most important compatibility question to answer before committing to migration. Make a realistic list of the applications you use regularly. For each one, determine whether a native Linux version exists, whether a web alternative covers your needs, whether a comparable open source tool can replace it, or whether the application has no viable Linux path. That exercise alone tells you whether Linux migration is a realistic option for your specific situation. Gaming is the category that creates the most uncertainty, and it deserves a direct answer. Linux gaming has changed substantially. Steam's compatibility technology has made a significant portion of Windows games playable on Linux without requiring native Linux versions. The Steam Deck, running Linux by default, demonstrated at consumer scale that Linux gaming is no longer a purely enthusiast activity. But compatibility is not universal. Games that use certain anti-cheat systems may not work. Some titles with complex launcher requirements create problems. Games that depend on Windows-specific technologies may run poorly or not at all. The compatibility situation varies by individual title, rather than following a simple rule. The honest summary is that the gap between Windows and Linux gaming has narrowed considerably. Whether it has narrowed enough depends entirely on which specific games you play. Researching compatibility for your particular library before migrating is more useful than any general statement about Linux gaming. There is a trap in Linux migration conversations that is worth naming directly. People often focus on the installation process, getting Linux onto the machine, choosing the distribution, running the installer, setting up the desktop. That part is genuinely more straightforward than it used to be for many users. The harder part is everything that comes after. Windows keyboard shortcuts that no longer apply, file management that works differently, settings that live in different places, application equivalents that behave in familiar but not identical ways, troubleshooting approaches that require building new habits. None of this is insurmountable, but underestimating it leads to frustration that is incorrectly attributed to Linux being difficult when it is actually a consequence of switching any complex system you have spent years learning. Preparation matters more than the installer. Using a Linux distribution as a live boot environment before committing to installation lets you test hardware compatibility and application behavior without changing anything on your existing machine. That step turns a risk into a more informed decision. Before any operating system migration, one principle applies unconditionally. Back up your data before you change anything. Not as a precaution in case something goes wrong, as a fundamental requirement regardless of how confident you feel. Documents, photos, videos, browser data, passwords, project files, all of it should be in at least one verified backup location before you make any changes to your existing system. This is not Linux-specific advice. It applies to any major system change. But it is worth stating plainly because migration enthusiasm can sometimes reduce people's caution about the data sitting on the machine they are about to modify. Here are the 4 realistic paths for a Windows 10 user in 2026, stated plainly. Continuing on Windows 10 without any extended support means running in an operating system that is no longer receiving standard security updates. The machine keeps working. The security maintenance has stopped. The exposure to unpatched vulnerabilities grows over time. Enrolling in extended security updates, where eligible, provides additional security update coverage through October 2027 for qualifying devices. It buys time without solving the long-term question. Buying a new Windows 11 PC provides a supported modern environment with full Microsoft compatibility. It is the highest upfront cost and requires transferring data and reconfiguring software on new hardware. Installing Linux on existing hardware potentially extends the useful life of the machine without hardware replacement. It avoids immediate cost, but introduces compatibility and learning considerations. None of these paths is universally correct. The right choice depends on the specific machine, the specific software requirements, the budget available, and the user's technical comfort and willingness to adapt. Linux migration makes the most sense for users whose computing lives are primarily organized around activities that Linux handles well. Web browsing, email, document editing, video streaming, cloud applications, and general-purpose computing are all areas where modern Linux distributions are genuinely capable. It makes less sense for users who depend on specific Windows-only software that has no practical Linux equivalent, work in enterprise environments built around Windows infrastructure, rely on hardware with Windows-only driver support, or play games with mandatory anti-cheat systems that do not support Linux. The decision should be made by honestly evaluating your actual workflow rather than by enthusiasm for the idea of switching or reluctance to learn something new. Zoom out for a moment and look at what this situation actually represents. A physically functional computer can become a migration problem, not because its hardware failed, but because its software ecosystem moved forward and left it behind. The CPU still works. The storage still works. Every component still does what it was designed to do. But the operating system no longer has a supported future on that hardware. This is an unusual category of obsolescence. It is not wear, it is not failure, it is a software support boundary that turns functioning hardware into a decision point. Linux challenges that boundary. It asks a different question, not whether the hardware is too old for modern Windows, but whether the hardware can still run a modern operating system that fits what the user needs. Sometimes the answer is yes. The computer gets a second chapter instead of a trip to a recycling center. The environmental implication of extending hardware life rather than replacing it is not insignificant at the scale of millions of machines in the same situation. Return now to the title. There is no universal Microsoft rule declaring that everyone must switch to Linux by 2026. That framing would be inaccurate. Windows 10 standard support ended October 14th, 2025. Extended security updates can provide coverage through October 2027 for eligible enrolled devices. The options Microsoft presents are Windows 11 ESU and hardware replacement. The 2026 deadline in this story is a practical one. It is the year in which users who delayed the migration decision after October 2025 are increasingly living with the consequences of that delay. Running an unsupported operating system without ESU on hardware that cannot move to Windows 11 without a plan for what comes next is a position that becomes harder to justify the longer it continues. The decision exists. It should be made deliberately rather than by default. Somewhere, a computer that was purchased 6 or 7 years ago is still running perfectly well. The processor handles every task its owner asks of it. The storage is fast, the display is sharp, the machine has years of physical life remaining. Its operating system just doesn't. Linux doesn't make that machine new. It doesn't eliminate compatibility challenges or eliminate the learning curve of switching systems. But for the right user with the right workload, it can answer the question that Windows 10's end of support created. Microsoft's deadline didn't necessarily make your old PC obsolete. It forced you to decide what operating system comes next. And for millions of machines that still have plenty of life left in them, Linux may be the option nobody was seriously considering 5 years ago, and the one that makes the most sense right now.